Hi boys and girls, I just wanted to do a last little lesson on measuring, some of the other worksheets that you have in your packet and some things about them. So looking at the first one, it's 15:7. It says adding and subtracting in measurement. So obviously you know how to add and subtract. So again, skipping the front, take a look inside. And at the top, it's going to kind of explain a few things here about what's going on. But I'm going to kind of jump to this first question, number 1. And it says, what is the distance around the baseball card? So over here is the baseball card. And if you see the shape that this is a rectangle. Well, if this is 7 centimeters, what would be above it, across from it? That would also be 7. And if this is 10 centimeters, and again it's a rectangle, that means the side across from it is equal, so that would also be 10 centimeters. So if you're looking at adding it here, that's how they got these numbers. They added all around the outside. So they added 10 plus 7 plus this would be 10 plus this would be 7, and they got 34. Now we talked about a little bit about this in daily math throughout the year, and when you add around all the outside parts of a shape, that is called the perimeter. Again, it's not on this page, but I kind of want you to know that math term. Again, the perimeter is the outside when you're adding all of the lengths of it. So that's what you do for number 1. That was an example. Number 2, same thing here. You have another rectangle. So again, if this is 15, that would be 15. If this is 12, this would be 12, and you add all around. Some are comparing just which one's longer, which one's shorter, so that would be your subtracting. If you look on the other side, again, comparing. So when you compare two things and they're different, you want to subtract. Now, taking a look at number 5, this only says 7. So you might say, well, Mrs. Lemons, how do I know what the other lengths are of the sides? Well, it's a square. What do we know about a square? All sides are equal. So if this side is 7, this side's going to be 7, this side's going to be 7, and that side will also be 7. So use some of this stuff that you know to complete this. The back page, let's see here, it just has a few more comparing things as well. And also the perimeter. Always going back to addition and subtraction, make sure you don't forget how to do that. So that was for 15:7. The lesson for 15:8 is comparing lengths. Again, you're comparing, so there's a difference. Difference means you're going to subtract. Now, you can skip the first page, and if you go to the inside, it's explaining it a little bit at the top of what to do. And what you're going to need for this, when you go to do this page, is you're going to need your ruler again. And remember, there's 2 sides to your ruler, so you got to be real careful. When you're doing this worksheet, it's not the inches, it's the little one. It's going to be the centimeters. Okay, so starting at 0, that would be the end, you're going to measure these different paths. And you might have to turn your page in order to do it. It would be easier. So like, for example, here when I measure from here to here, that would be 3 centimeters, so I'd write a 3 there. And then I look on this straight path part, and if you look at this, it would be very close to 7. So if I add 3 plus 7, that's how I get 10. So once you do the same for number 2 for path B, and then it asks you some questions comparing them. The other side, same thing. You'll have to maybe turn your paper a little bit in order to measure. Make sure you're measuring in the centimeters and not the inches, or you're going to get the wrong answers. And the back as well. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts here, and you will have to turn your paper and your ruler in order to measure these. But some students usually like measuring a lot. Just make sure to remember that you start at 0. So even this little one right here, it's only about 1 centimeter. So you want to write a 1 here, and then that way you can add that whole path together. So this one is 15:8. And the very last one is just the reteaching, is just kind of a review of some of the different things. This one is measuring in inches. So again, I keep saying it, but you need to be real careful. When you're measuring in inches, that's the bigger part of the ruler. That's when it's about the size of a paper clip. So there's your inches. If you go to set B, you gotta change the ruler up. You gotta go to your centimeter side, the tiny side, and you're gonna measure these different objects. And then lastly, to the inside, the last two parts. Number 7 and number 8 are saying which of these objects in real life is about an inch. And the number 8 says which one in real life is about a foot, the objects. And then again, the last part is what I kind of just was showing when you're measuring with the centimeters. So you have to turn your ruler, write how much it is, and then add it together. So make sure you do it carefully, have some fun, and maybe you'll really get into measuring. Thanks.